Welcome, welcome, welcome to the deep dive. So glad you're with us today. Here, our mission is always pretty straightforward. You give us your sources, could be articles, research, maybe even your own notes. And we dive deep. We pull out the most important bits, the key insights. It's kind of your shortcut to getting really informed without feeling overwhelmed. And today we're tackling something really foundational, but actually quite rich when you look closely. It's all about mastering those very first steps in English communication, greetings and introductions. Now, you might think, oh, that's simple. And yeah, on the surface, maybe. But as our source points out, getting these right, it's like laying the perfect groundwork for, well, pretty much any English conversation you'll have.
That's right. And what's really interesting about the source material for this deep dive is that it's this fantastic guide, really designed specifically with beginners in mind. It gives these very practical sort of step-by-step ways to build confidence speaking English right from zero. And it really hammers home how vital these first interactions are for anyone learning a language. It's not just about the words themselves, it's the nuances.
Oh.
Understanding those can genuinely help you avoid some really common mistakes and set you up properly from that very first hello.
Okay, then, let's unpack this a bit. Let's say you're, I don't know, walking into a new situation, meeting someone new. How do you kick that off confidently in English? Our source starts right at the beginning, which is great. Your absolute go-to, friendly, works anytime greeting, hello. Hello. Think of it like your basic black t-shirt. Always appropriate, right? Anytime, day or night, any situation. Formal, informal, hello, just works. Then you've got its slightly more relaxed cousin, hi. Very common, very popular. You'll hear it everywhere, especially in, everyday settings with friends, colleagues. It signals warmth. Beyond those, English also uses greetings that depend on the time of day. Adds a bit of politeness, maybe.
Yeah.
So we have good morning, basically, from when you wake up till about midday, 12 p.m. After 12, you switch to good afternoon. That runs until, say, 5 or 6 in the evening. And then once it's past 6 p.m., you're into good evening territory.
And this brings up a really fascinating point, something that often catches learners out. It's about good night. Now, why does this one little phrase, good night, matter so much? The key thing, and our source highlights this, is that good night is not a greeting. You don't use it when you meet someone in the evening.
Oh, right. That's a common slip-up, isn't it?
Exactly. It's strictly for when you're leaving somewhere late or literally going to bed. And it's not just some arbitrary rule. It sort of reflects this cultural idea in English that night signifies, the end of the day's activities, the end of social time. So using it when you arrive can feel a bit jarring, like you're shutting down the interaction before it even starts. It's one of those subtle things that can cause a little awkwardness.
That cultural layer is what makes it so interesting, yeah. It's not just vocabulary, it's the social code baked into the language. So, for you listening, a good way to internalize this might be just to connect these greetings to your own daily rhythm. When do you usually wake up? That's your good morning window. When's lunch? That shifts you to good afternoon. Evening starts. Good evening. Linking it to your day makes it stick. Okay, so you've nailed saying hello. What comes next? Usually, finding out who you're talking to, right? Introductions. Our source points us to the main question here. What is your name? Simple, direct, gets the job done. When you say it, notice the rhythm. What is your name? Nice and clear. And then how do you answer? The source gives us two main ways, both perfectly fine. You can say, my name is Haas, and then your name. My name is Amit. My name is Sophia. Clear, polite, or maybe a little more direct. I am, followed by your name. I am Ali. I am Chen. Both totally standard, works great.
Yeah, and connecting this to the bigger picture, this is actually where we see a really fundamental piece of English grammar pop up.
Yeah.
The verb to be, it's everywhere in English and so important. Notice when you ask, what is your name, you're using is. That's the form for a singular thing like your name. And answering my name is uses is, again, because my name is also singular. But if you choose the other way, I am, I on I, well, am is the special form that goes only with I. For learners whose first language doesn't use a verb like to be for just stating identity, really getting I am or my name is down isn't just memorizing, it's kind of grasping a core English concept about, well, how you stay who you are. This seems simple, but mastering it here, that builds a really solid base for everything else.
That really highlights how much work that tiny verb to be is doing. Okay, and here's another crucial bit for making things smooth. After you've swapped names, the polite thing to say is, "Nice to meet you." It's warm, shows goodwill, standard procedure, really, and the usual reply. Just adding to at the end. "Nice to meet you too." Simple, reciprocal. It seals that introduction nicely. We'd really encourage you listening right now, maybe just try saying those phrases out loud. "Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too." Get the feel of them. Now, our source material also flags some specific pronunciation points, things that can be tricky, especially it noted for Urdu speakers, but honestly, these sounds challenge lots of learners. Let's focus on two key ones, the W sound and the sound.
All right, let's take the W sound first. Like in what, which, as we just discussed, starts that key question, what is your name? The trick here is all about your lips. You need to make them into a small, round shape, almost like you're about to whistle. And critically, this is the main point. Your top teeth should not touch your bottom lip. If they do, you'll make more of a V sound.
So it's not Viat.
Exactly. It's a what? A pure lip sound. And, you asked earlier why these small details matter. Well, mixing up W and V can sometimes actually change the meaning of words or just make you a bit harder to understand. Getting these small phonetic points right really boosts your clarity.
That distinction is super helpful. Okay, what about the other sound, the luf? That one's famously tricky for many. Our source mentions there are actually two the sounds, which is interesting. There's the softer, breathy one, like in thing or three, no voice, just air. And then there's the voiced one where your throat vibrates a little, like in this, that, or the But for both, the key seems to be tongue placement. Your tongue needs to gently touch or maybe even poke out just a tiny bit behind or between your front teeth. It's definitely softer than a hard T sound you might have in, say, Urdu or other languages. And again, nailing these little details, it makes a huge difference in sounding clear and, well, more natural in English. So really focus on the physical feeling, the mouth movements. When you practice, it builds that muscle memory. And speaking of practice, this deep dive source wasn't just theory, it included some really practical exercises, which we always appreciate, because knowing is one thing, but doing is how you really learn. One activity it suggested is a kind of mini conversation or role play. This is fantastic because it gets you, the listener, actively involved in practicing responses. It builds confidence fast. Let's try one super quick. I'll start. You respond in your head, or even out loud if you can. Ready? Hello.
Right, and you, listening, might think or say, hi, my name is your name. Or maybe, good morning, I am your name. See, that active engagement really shows how knowledge is best when you apply it. The source also pushed for a listen and repeat activity. And the power there is just in the repetition, saying, hello, good morning, what is your name? My name is Yaksha. I am. Nice to meet you. Again and again. It literally builds muscle memory in your mouth and brain. Yeah. It takes these phrases from something you have to consciously think about to something that just kind of comes out automatically. And that automaticity, that's key for fluency and feeling confident.
Definitely. And there was one more fun idea in the source, the flashcard fun activity. I quite like this one. Picture it. Little bits of paper. On one side, you write a greeting, maybe good afternoon. On the flip side, you write a suitable reply, like good afternoon, or one side says, what is your name? Well, the other side has the two answer formats. My name is, I am.
Right.
It's a really great hands-on way to test yourself, make the phrases stick, and maybe even make studying a bit less boring. It's active recall, engaging different parts of your brain. And just like that, we're nearing the end of this deep dive. We've covered those absolutely essential greetings, looked at how to introduce yourself clearly, and even drilled down into some crucial pronunciation points. That's genuinely a massive first step. It really lays the foundation for building your confidence in spoken English.
Yeah, absolutely. And the core idea here, I think, the real takeaway from the source, is that confidence truly does start with these small, manageable steps. So maybe the final thought to leave you with from this deep dive is this. Just consider, how could simply practicing saying hello and my name is in the mirror, or spending 5 minutes with those flashcards, How could that start to change how you see yourself as an English speaker? And then think bigger. How might getting comfortable with just these basic interactions open up new possibilities, maybe socially, maybe professionally? It all starts here with these fundamentals.
Well said. So keep practicing these building blocks. Even just a few minutes each day makes a real difference. Consistency is your friend here. And do join us next time for the deep dive. We'll be building directly on this, looking at how to ask and answer other simple but essential questions like, how are you and where are you from? Until then, keep practicing, keep learning, and keep diving deep.